Hey there, welcome to the Jeff and Heidi Show, where you're going to have the opportunity to listen to and learn from everyday entrepreneurs. Welcome to the Jeff and Heidi Show. This is Jeff Heggie of Jeff Heggie Coaching, my co-host Heidi Anderson of ECI Secure Pay. Today, I am excited to have Coach Sherry Winn with us. Sherry and I have known each other for a little while. We'll get into that, how we met, but I want to just read her biography first. If you don't know who she is, you should, and this is going to be a lot of fun. So Sherry Winn is a two-time Olympian, National Basketball Coach of the Year, and an Amazon three-time best-selling author. She is an in-demand, international renowned speaker who frequently speaks to up to 14,000 people at a time, including companies such as StubHub, Anytime Fitness, New York Life, Edward Jones, and Technicolor. With over 34 years of practicing leadership as a national championship basketball coach and a two-time Olympian, Sherry is an expert in coaching leaders and team members to championship status. She has successfully taken leaders beyond their level of comfort to win against competitors who were superior in their talent, facilities, and financial budgets. Through her Winn philosophy, the winner's principles, she shares inside secrets on how to succeed even when the odds are insurmountable, so that your team feels, acts, and conquers their goals like Olympians.
Woo!
That's huge.
That is impressive.
Makes you sound like somebody you're not, right? You're like, oh, really? That's me. Because let's talk about all the failures. So in between the successes, let's move back to all the failures and let's talk about those.
Those create the successes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. When did you play college ball? When were you?
Well, I played college ball back in. It's kind of weird because I was in the Olympics in 1984 and 1988. So I started college in 1979.
Okay.
I quit college in 1981.
Okay.
See, then I went back to college in 84. Yeah, it's kind of a convoluted story because back then when you trained for the Olympics, we were amateurs. There was no money.
Right.
And so you were doing kind of crazy things to make money and you couldn't, it's almost impossible to go to school and to train because you needed somebody to be your mama, your mama or your daddy, sugar daddy or sugar mama. I didn't have either of those.
One of the reasons I asked was because I played at the same time. I played for LSU. I played for Arizona, then for LSU.
Woo-woo.
And so I was just kind of wondering, back then, women's coaches, I think it was a challenge getting strong leadership in women's coaches. Finally, my senior year, I got Sue Gunter, who I'm sure you know Sue, and she turned I got one really good year of basketball in. But who was your coach? I mean, who helped you develop into this when you were in college?
Well,
yeah. So because I know your story a little bit more, just share with us this story of kind of where you started and how you got to where you are now.
I can't say that my coaches weren't good coaches because I don't want to say I wasn't a good player. I was a good player. I was a great player. What wasn't good was my mindset. Okay. So I'd gone through some incredible, struggles. And so by the time I got to college, tremendous amount of self-doubt. I felt abandoned and betrayed, unloved, unwanted. And so, if the coach had known that, maybe they could have nurtured me and helped me better. But back in those days, you didn't talk about your issues. You didn't talk about your problems. You didn't share any of that stuff. And so, it's really kind of a problematic child until it kind of like the Olympics hit. And then I had great mentors because my teammates were not all, but most of them were older than me and significantly older. So 7 years, 8 years, 9 years. So they really were great mentors for me and helped me get better aligned with, not drinking as much and not being emotionally crazy as much.
I think you and I would have been great friends in college. I don't think we had a lot in common.
Well, and that's, and Heidi, that's why when I was a coach, like I was really about developing the person and helping the people and watching for signs of, depression or, any of those things that could come about because I knew how much I struggled and I didn't want my players to do the same.
That's great.
Yeah.
So So expand on it. I mean, you're Olympian. Talk about how you got into coaching basketball and how you ended up coaching at the level you did.
So it's really weird, because the story is interesting because I played college basketball, started playing college basketball. I loved basketball. I was like, junkie. I was a kid, carried your ball everywhere. Every time there was a park, you had to shoot. We go to visit I go to visit my grandparents. They had a basketball, court across from their house. I never saw them. I was over there shooting the whole time and play. So I was crazy about it. And I had a goal of being an Olympian when I was a kid. Well, being a basketball Olympian is pretty dang tough. I mean, you have to have the good coaches. You have to be in a good program and all that stuff. And I was probably a little short, probably a little slow anyway. But I ended up learning in college about this sport called team handball, which is like soccer using the hands or water polo on land. Very fast paced, very aggressive. So you got to use a lot of basketball skills in it. And also you got to hit people, which at the time was best for me because I got to hit people. So I was like, boom, I was like, oh yeah, like I was so angry. So that was great. It was like, oh, I can hit somebody else. It's great. And so when I was introduced to the sport, literally what happened, it was crazy, but basketball's kind of falling apart. And again, it's not like when I was young, it was all my coach's fault. It was all my teammates' fault. And, as you grow up, you realize, oh, I played a part in that. Like, if you don't like yourself, nobody else will like you either. That's pretty important to note.
Right.
And I didn't like myself. And so it's pretty hard to be likable. So there's a big, to do about, I was messed up. I was drinking a lot, whatever. So a friend of mine a classmate of mine, I wouldn't say a friend, showed me a film of team handball, said, we have a club team on campus. Why don't you come play? You got nothing else to do. I'm like, okay. Like I had literally nothing else to do. Okay. So I go to this crazy sport and I play on the club team for, I don't know, a month and a half, two. They're like, we're going to go to the national tournament. You want to go? We're like, okay, where's it going to be? New York City. Oh, perfect. Never been there. Let's do it. So I get to New York City and I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm literally just running around hitting people and throwing the ball as hard as I can into the goal. Pretty clueless. But the national team coach is there and he looks at me and he goes, oh, like, do you want to start training for a national team? I go, okay. What's the national team?
Let's go with what presents, right?
Well, it was perfect. I mean, the thing about it is, sometimes things have to show up in your life. Like all the events leading up to me quitting and the negativity, and I thought my life was over. And also that almost had to happen for me to open my mind to the possibility elsewhere, because I would have never quit basketball in college to play team handball. But because I wasn't playing basketball, it opened the opportunity to play team handball. And we traveled all over the world. Like a lot of national teams, like basketball comes together at the last month and then they go and win because we're that superior. But in team handball, we lived together, we trained together, we went all over the world. I mean, we would train in the United States for like 1 to 3 months and we'd go on a 4-week European tour and play all over the world. And so, it was really incredible because I got to play in world championships, junior world championships, Pan American games, Goodwill games, all kinds of things that were just all over the world. So that was really a lot of fun.
Does that still exist? The team
handball? It does. United States is not, unfortunately, we've never had good leadership. Like they've never had that person who could figure out how to grow the sport. And we've had failed leader after failed leader. And the United States Olympic Committee actually kicked team handball out of the federation, like the people who, they give money to. They said, we're not going to mess with you anymore. So it's been struggling for a while. They really want it to be strong in the United States because if it's strong in the United States, it will be strong internationally. It'll grow the international stuff. So they're trying again. So we'll see. I'm not going to, I'm just going to wait to see if the leader can step up to the plate and be a good leader.
Well, you could take it over.
No.
Okay, enough said. So team handball, how do you then segue back into basketball?
Well, so here's the thing. You don't get paid to play team handball. And nobody did. Remember back in 1981, Olympics were amateur. So when I started, the Olympics were still amateur. 84 and 88, they were still amateur sports. And so, everybody's broke. You're broke, but you're doing the thing you love the most. I mean, I couldn't be happier. right? I could not have been happier. This was everything I wanted to do, is train twice a day, hang out with all your friends, go practice again, hang out again, go play a bunch of games, come back and practice more. I mean, it's the dream of an athlete. But after 84, it's like, well, I need to get my education. So I went back into basketball. But in the summers, I played team handball. So almost as soon as the season was over, I would finagle with my professors and get out of school early and get back and play team handball until school started. So I literally, it took me, I started college in 79, and I graduated in 86 for my bachelor's. And then I started like my master's, and I took another, 2 years off to do that, to go play handball again full time. So it was kind of convoluted, but it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It was like best people ever. My teammates were the best people ever. I adore them. I love them. I still keep in contact with them. We have reunions about every 4 or 5 years. We share the same stories over, and we laugh again at them, that we've been laughing at them for 40 years, and we're still laughing at the same stories.
That's great.
So after your second time at the Olympics, is that when you got back in and got into basketball coaching?
Right. So after the 88 games were over, I knew I was done with my athletic career, because back then 28 was old. So people, they're like, oh, you're old. You're an old athlete, so you need to hang it up. And so there was that going on. And I was also like, I'm really broke. All my friends, have cars and houses and families. And I have, a little car that barely runs, and I'm broke. But it was, like I said, I was fine with that. So I decided I need to get back there's no team handball coaching. You had to get back into basketball coaching. So I jumped into coaching basketball and just said, I will take the first job that anybody will give me. And I did. I took a job at a little bitty school in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota. But I was a head coach.
Yeah.
But how did that little bitty job grow into what you ended up doing?
I think first of all, you have to be willing to do what it takes. I think a lot of people will go, it's too small for me. It's not enough for me. I'm not going to get paid enough. And there's a lot of people who will stop at that. And I just thought, I want to be a head coach. So I'm going to go, whoever will hire me as a head coach, that's what I'm going to do. And this happened to be like, there was a non-scholarship school and a scholarship conference. It had a really high, you had to, academic ratings to get into the school. So it's almost impossible to get in school. But you're playing against scholarship people, and they can go out and go, hey, do you have a breath? Do you have, are you walking? Good, we'll take you, kind of thing. But we were able to, in a year, I was able to turn the program around from a losing program to a winning program. We happened to beat one of the best team in the conference, who was also nationally ranked. So that got the attention of other folks, because you could do something like that. And of course, I was so young and stupid, I didn't know you weren't supposed to do that. So I wish I would have remained young and stupid, right? If you're young and stupid, you can accomplish a lot of things. And then people start telling you what you can't do, and you're like, oh, yeah.
Then that gets in your head, right?
Gets in your head and gets in your way, for sure,
Yeah.
Heidi, for sure.
So then, so small school, you turned that around. What was the next step?
It was another small school in Montana, which I love Montana. This happened to be the best place I ever coached in my life. So it was Montana State University Northern up in Havre, Montana. Now you got to imagine, like, Montana's sparsely populated anyway. I mean, there's just not a lot of people in this big, huge state. But basketball is king here. People they support their local girls. Like the gyms will be full for local girls and stuff. So I get to the school, and they said, oh, you're going to love it here because the fans are so supportive of women's basketball. I'm like, okay, right. And I come to school, literally, like, this is September. I come in, there's this line that's going out the gym door. It goes down the sidewalk. It goes down the block. It turns around the block. It's going down the road. I come in and I go, what's going on? And they go, oh, these are people lining up for season tickets.
For women's
Because back
basketball?
then it wasn't sold on the computer, right? They're lining up to make sure they get their season tickets. And I'm like, you've got to be, really? They're like, yeah.
Wow.
So the best thing about this school is, I'm not kidding you, it would be jam-packed, sold out from floor to ceiling. It's like 2,000, it was set about 2,000 people. It's probably a fire hazard because they let people stand. And we would walk in, and my first 5 players would throw T-shirts in the stands, my starting 5, And people in the stands would fight over the shirt. They'd fight over the shirt. It was crazy.
That's great.
So, I mean, it's the best place ever. Can you imagine, like, you're a woman and you're playing and it's just sold out and people are crazy about you. And I had to watch it because people in town wanted to buy things for everybody, right? It was okay. They bought them for me. Like, I didn't care, but they wanted to buy stuff for the players. I had a player drop up at a car. I go, where'd you get the car? Oh, the so-and-so from the Miller Company got it. And I'm like, you can't.
Kind of an anti-amateur. Oh my gosh.
So it was the best place ever to coach. I mean, we didn't hardly lose. I mean, I felt like I was, UConn. Just go walk around and just kick about everywhere. So it was really fun. And we won a national title there. We won the conference 5 years in a row. We won a national title. And I can remember telling my players, so they interviewed me on the radio before the game. And they said to me, well, what do you think the people at Havre are going to do? And I go, I don't know, throw us a parade. Like, okay, they're going to throw us a parade. So we fly back, and it's literally like, you got to understand, you fly into Great Falls, it's 2 hours to Havre. So my athletic director gets me on the phone and goes, hey, they're going to throw you a parade. I said, it's going to be like 2 a.m. when we get there.
You don't care.
He goes, they're going to throw you a parade. So I tell my players, look, I want you guys to be really polite to the 5 or 10 people who show up. They're going to come to the gym. And so I know you're tired, but they're going to show up to you. And I'm giving them this lecture about being polite to the 10 people who show up. And so we get up, we come across the hill into Havre, and there are car lights as far as you can see. I mean, they're just like light, and they have the fire trucks out, and this is March in Montana. People are sitting outside on, stools,
freezing.
like freezing. And we get to the gym, they have a cake, and the gym is packed with all these people. They have T-shirts and sweatshirts and hats. And I mean, it was like the best. Small town experience, the best ever.
Oh, what a great positive experience. I thought, like, when we played, and probably happened when you played in college, the only time we had people in the stands was when we played before the men. Right. And they would get there early for the men's game.
Right.
Like the last 10 minutes of the game.
Seats. Yeah. But then, my senior year, when we had Coach Gunner, and we actually had a pretty good team, same players, just a much better team. We actually started getting people in the stands on our own, but it was still not like what you're talking about by any means.
Yeah, it was crazy because one of my players was good friends with Stanford. And so the year we won, Stanford also won. And so she's talking to her friend, and her friend's like, yeah, we came back and went to school the next day. Like, and she's like, what? She's like, we came back to a parade and to cake and the T-shirts and so it's just so funny because the experience was so different, for Stanford, and us in this little town, which was it was just amazing. It was the funnest time. I mean, you couldn't duplicate that ever again.
It's not like that there now, or
no, they still have support, but I mean, this is like right on the edge of, there was nothing else to do. I mean, people would come from an hour away to watch the game because there's, in the wintertime up on the high line in Montana, that there's nothing else to do. But now that they have TV and cable, and people can stay at home and go.
Yeah.
I think it kind of ruined it, but it was the perfect timing. It was absolutely the perfect timing. Best time of my life. The only problem I will tell you is that if I went to the bar, so usually after games, we go to the bar because fans would be there. I would have like 12 beers sitting in front of me, and I couldn't get rid of them. Like, I'd take them and move them over to another place. I'd take them to the bathroom and dump them out. And I'd come back and there'd be 12 more. I'm like,
oh, that's funny.
I know the good days.
So how did you, so that's, coaching athletes, coaching teams. Are you currently coaching athletes and teams, or are you coaching business people?
Yeah, so, you probably know this, Heidi, and Jeff, you probably experienced this. As you're going along in life changes you, right? You have experiences. One of the things that really changed my life was I developed chronic pain when I was 35. So I could not sit, stand, or walk without pain. So here I am, this person who loved to work out. Like, it's how I defined myself. And at 35, I was still in, rock hard, and just had muscles, and all those kind of cool things. And I was rock climbing and biking and hiking and weight training, all that stuff. But all of a sudden, I could do nothing. I mean, I literally could do nothing. Walking to the grocery store was too hard. Like I couldn't stand long enough to push your buggy around and get groceries. I could not sit long enough to sit in the movie theater because the pain was so great. I couldn't sit long enough to watch a movie. So the only time I got relief was laying down, so all of a sudden I'm this huge couch potato. And that journey, in those years of getting healthy, of getting better, was not just a physical journey. It was a very much of a spiritual and emotional journey that shifted me, and so, as I worked through this, and this was a long process, this was not like a year process. This was like a 7-year process. So that really shifted who I was. And when things shift you look at life differently, right? You just things that used to be, the most important things in the world are now different for you. And that shifted me. So I was coaching, but I was coaching differently. And I also was really more concerned about the players and who they became versus did we win. And as this continued, I got to the point, I was like, you know what? I'm a really good speaker, and I'm really good at helping people become better, but I'm only getting this small group every year. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing and marvelous if I could reach more people? Wouldn't that be great? So, I decided, like, this is kind of crazy, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back and move to Montana where I love, and I'm going to just develop this business. I thought it'd be easy. I thought I was like, I'd say,
yeah, nothing worth doing is ever easy, right?
I know. I just started to announce, I'm going to speak, and everybody go, okay. Come to Auckland. No. So, it's really like a lot of things that happen along the pathway that get you to a point. And I decided to get into speaking. And I thought, well, I could learn this. And I knew pretty soon I didn't know how to speak. And then I learned how to speak. I had to have a coach. And then I learned I didn't know how to market, which is what gets you on stages. And so, it just kept learning and growing. And it occurred to me through one of my coaches that I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on because it's how you get better. It occurred, one of my coaches said, you know what, you need to do leadership. Like and understand leadership. And I'm like, yeah, but these corporations won't listen to a basketball coach. And she goes, oh, they will. And they have. That's the most beautiful part about that, Heidi and Jeff, is they've really listened because, the most of the people I've talked to have had some experience with sports. And the other thing is, like, what you do with a team on a court is not that much different than what you do with a team that you have in a company. They're very, very, very similar aspects.
To me, there's so many similarities between athletics and everything we do in life. I just had this conversation with a lady this morning that I'm helping her with her son. And she says, all he loves is football and Star Wars. And I says, I can't help you with Star Wars, but football, I'm in. We can go with that, and we can talk about how he can move those things into his life skills. And there's so many things that are such a similarity. So that's great.
Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting because my dad said to me this really early in my coaching career. I called him because he had been a high school coach, and he'd also been a college athlete. And so I said, hey, Dad, what offense should I run? Like, this was a major decision on my part. Like, what offense should I run? And he goes, honey, it doesn't make any difference. And I go, what do you mean it doesn't make a difference? Of course it makes a difference. He goes, what makes a difference is, can you get the players to run the offense? Mm-hmm. And I think that's true in any business. Like, can you get your people to do the things they need to do, to accept their roles, and to work with others well, right? Play with others well, to go to the goal that everybody wants. Like, can you get them together to do that? And that's really a lot of the skill set is, do you have the communication skills? Do you have the listing skills? Can you get people motivated to do what they do? What it's about, all businesses, all are made up of people skills. Can you build the relationships necessary? Do you know how to build the relationships with your team members, with your leadership team, and with your clients and customers? Do you know how to do that? And if you don't, you're going to lose.
Right. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So So you've got the coaching, you're doing that, you're doing the speaking. Tell us about your books.
Books. So, yeah, so, I always wanted to write a book. It's interesting. When I was a kid, I was like, I want to write a book. I want to be an Olympian. I want to be a veterinarian. The veterinarian thing did not come true because my mom took me to watch a vet, like they were going to spay a cat, and I almost passed out. And I'm like, okay, we're done with that. That was the end of that. I was like, whoa. But, so, so when I got into the speaking business, they said, you should write a book because it proves your celebrity, it creates your celebrity, and it lets people know. And then you can sell the book in the back of the room, which gives you more income. And I was like, income sounds good. So I wrote the first book, Unleash the Winner Within You, a success game plan to business leadership and life. And in that book, we talk about, we, as in me and me, we talk about the Winn philosophy and then the winner principles. And so in the book I've spoke a lot on Unleash Your Inner Winner, which is the Winn philosophy. When I go into places and talk, when I go to businesses and they want me for a keynote or even for breakout sessions or training, I bring those things back up. So that's been and I sell the book, right? You need the book. So then, so it occurred to me a couple of years ago, maybe it didn't occur to me. I got coached. So I'm not going to claim this. My coach said, you know what? You should interview people because you've told your stories and they're great stories. Like they're great stories. I love your stories, but people want to know about other people, what other people think. Go out and start interviewing these people from, try to get them to let you interview them, which has been the problem sometimes. And then I've interviewed wonderful people like Jeff. We had a great interview. He was a wonderful person. But I've interviewed, I don't know, over 100 and something CEOs right now. And it's just been the most marvelous experience ever. I mean, I get to meet wonderful people. We have these conversations. I learn something new. And so right now for the next book, which I'm writing and I'm interviewing still, because the problem is, Jeff, is I don't want to stop interviewing because I'm having too much fun. This is the problem. So I have to
That's what I love about this show is this, interviewing and listening to, it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had to set a cutoff date. Like there's got to be a cutoff date. You have to cut yourself off and really, get to. I've written a lot of the book, but I need to stop having fun to write the book. But the next book is called Winning Leadership: 7 Secrets to Employee Champions and Sales Superstars. So still, within that whole the winners, the win thing, and the champion thing, because I think it speaks to people.
Yeah, you have the perfect last name for this for sure. And you're so delightful and you're funny and you're fun. Do you write like this too? Because I personally find a lot of business leadership books to be dry and hard to read just because, but if you write like this, I would enjoy reading it.
Thank you. Well, I speak like this. So when I speak and I get on stages, I always promise people 3 things. Number 1, it's going to be entertaining, guaranteed, like it's going to be entertaining. Number 2, it's going to be engaging. So I'm going to ask you to get involved and we're going to get involved. Like you won't go no, because it'll be fun. And number 3, you're going to leave empowered. And so I think that any good presentation has those 3 skills along with any good book, right? If you want to read a book, you want to feel like you're entertained. If it's too dry, you go to sleep and you're trying to force yourself to read a page. And you read one page, next night you're like, okay, I'm going to read this page. You read the same page. The third night you read the same page the third time, right? And you're like, okay, I got that point maybe. So so you want to have a story. People love stories. They want to hear stories about people, and when they hear a story about people, it engages them. Because they want to know that people are people. We're humans, and so it doesn't matter what level you've gotten to. You're a human being, and when they hear human stories, that's the thing that really hits to home and hits people's heart. Is that kind of story.
Yeah. So that makes you more relatable.
Mm-hmm.
You're not talking to them from your ivory tower. You're going, hey, this is what I've been through, and this is how I've become because of it. And the authenticity is obviously huge.
Absolutely.
For my own
you have to
notes,
feel like you're real. Yes, sir.
For my own notes, tell me those 3 again. So it was
for your own notes. I was like, 3 what? 3 books. Let me go. I've only talked about 2 books.
3 pillars of speaking.
So number 1, you want to be entertaining.
Right.
So if you're on stage, unless you're a lecturer and people are coming to a lecture, you've got to be entertaining. And that doesn't mean like, oh, I've got to juggle. Doesn't mean that. It just means, can you be funny? can you say something in a way that's funny? Like I'll give you, for example, this is a really short story, so it won't take long. So I have a play, talk about the importance of self-talk, the importance of how it is that you need to say the things that you want to be. So I got a player on my team one year, and her name was Courtney, and like she was phenomenal. I was like, ooh, I'm going to be a really good coach, right? Because that's what you do when you recruit great players, you know that you're a better coach. And so I was excited about this young lady, but Courtney had this incredible negative self-talk. So she would literally go down the court and make a bad pass, and she would scream, "I suck." Like, okay, you're telling that to your opponent, you're telling to the fans, you're telling to your teammates, right? So she'd come back down and make to herself. Yeah, but everybody else is hearing it too, right? She'd come down then and she would miss the shot, and she'd go, "I suck." I go, "Sarah, get in for Courtney." And Courtney comes off the court. She goes, "Coach, how come you took me out?" I'm like, "Because you suck."
You convinced me, right?
Right. But, it's a short story, but it's cute. It's a cute story. And so people will chuckle and they go,
and she learned from that.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Well, we had to show her on videotape. Here's what happens after you tell yourself negative things. Let's watch the next 5 minutes, how you perform. Like, let's really look at this, Courtney, because she didn't realize the connection, like most people don't, to the things that you say internally to then what you create.
Right.
Like that, there is no line. It is what you say is who you are, and you can't disconnect that line. So entertaining. So just something that makes them laugh, haha. Engaging, because the most important thing with anything is that people feel like they're part of the presentation. Now, this is important, right? Because if they feel like they're part of the presentation, they're always going to love you because they're judging themselves. So that's important to get them engaged. And then finally, empowering. You want people to leave with a message they can hold on to that could change their life. Something that go, if I just did this one thing, tomorrow would be different.
Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Okay, that's $30,000, please.
All right.
It's $10,000 per E.
Per.
Right. Yeah, per thing that starts with the letter E.
For sure.
Right, I want to make sure to give you an opportunity to share where people find you, all those sort of things. But before we do that, I love your storytelling. I want to hear a story about something like maybe the first woman that dunked or something like that.
Hey, I could dunk a volleyball in college. I don't have very big hands, so I could never dunk a basketball, but I could dunk a volleyball.
Oh, that's great.
By the way, I'm 6'5".
Oh, I knew you were tall. I could tell by the way you're sitting. I'm like, oh, she's tall, right? Can you tell that I'm not? So Jeff and I were talking about this the other day, and I said, I'm in the Basketball Hall of Fame. He's like, oh, really? And I'm like, oh, yeah. Because the first slam dunk ever, right? I played with that ball. I was on the court for the first slam dunk ever. And this is what happened. So our coach at the time was this kind of old curmudgeon. I mean, he really was. His name was, we didn't call him Coach so-and-so was Bud. Like, we named him Bud. Hey, Bud. That was his name. And so before the game, he goes, hey, ladies, this is what's important in this game. We do not get slam dunked on. If she goes up, you break her legs. He said that. Break her legs. Like, he was seriously, tackle her. You do what it takes. Break her legs. So we're playing against, it was West Virginia University and Georgina Wells. I think she's 6'7", right? And so we're like, coming to our armpits, Georgina. And so, all game long, they're beating us pretty handily. We're not even in the game. And all of a sudden we go on a fast break and they're not on defense. I'm like, what? We score. I'm like, oh, we score. Yay. And then I go, oh, crap. Because I see Georgina Wells standing at the top of the key and her player takes it out of bounds and like baseball passes, perfect to Georgina Wells. I'm like, uh-oh, like somebody is about to break her legs. All I could see is like, we're going to tackle her. We're going to take her down. She's going to lose her kneecaps. I don't know what's going to happen. But I was really sad because I thought, this is not fair for somebody who was a basketball player to get broken legs and can't play the rest of her career. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. She
like the basketball mafia.
She slam dunked on us. It was perfect. It was beautiful. Then they celebrate. They're like, and after the game, first of all, our coach wasn't happy with this. So let's just say that. But the manager and I were really good friends. And so we took the videotape and we secretly watched it together that night. So we walked, we hide away and locked the door, and we're watching this Georgetta Wells, like rewind, whoo, rewind, whoo. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like, we got slam dunked on, first slam dunk ever in women's basketball history. Well, the other coach asked our coach for the game film. And he's like, we shut it off at halftime. We don't have it. And she's like, are you sure you don't have it? He goes, we don't have the game film. We did not get that on game film, because he didn't want to give it up. He didn't want to admit that his team had gotten slam dunked on. So that film sat around. Like, he died unexpectedly, and he left a few, old videotapes, old 8-track kind of videotapes with his son. And so a Wall Street Journal reporter wanted to try to find out, like, the history of the slam dunk, and was there any video on it. So he started interviewing folks, and so he went to Bud's son, and he said, do you know if that videotape exists? And he goes, well, I don't know. Well, we started looking around, and sure enough, Bud had kept it. So they did get the videotape. They do have the actual game film of Georgetta Wells slam dunking, and me going, like, that was my claim to fame, because I played with the ball, and I didn't break her legs. So she should really be thanking me.
That was good of you.
kind of like an assist on the slam dunk. So that's, the first slam dunk in women's basketball history. That's the way it went down.
Wow.
That's awesome. I love that story. Well, thank you. This has been great. Really appreciate you taking the time to do this. Will you, couple things. One, do you have a timeline when this new book is going to hit shelves? And so
see, now he's going to make me stop having fun, Heidi. Do you hear him? He's going to make me stop.
He's coaching you.
I'm saying 6 to 8 months. I'm saying 6 to 8 months, is kind of the timeline we're thinking about right now. But right now, if you want to find out my other books, you can find me at thewinningleadershipcompany.com. That's where you can find me, thewinningleadershipcompany.com. You can find me there. And if you want to order a book, you can simply email me at Sherry, SHERRY, at thewinningleadershipcompany.com. And here's the crazy thing. I know people don't believe me. If you will just email me and say, I want a book, I'll give it to you for free. FREE, no shipping, no nothing. Now, here's what you have to do for me in return. You have to promise to rant and rave about me to everybody and anybody you know, to associations, organizations, your sisters, your uncles, anybody who says, I need a coach, go, Coach Winn is a coach for you. Like, you have to do that for me. Otherwise, I just give it to you for free. FREE.
I've been talking to Sherry for quite a while now, and this is the first time I've heard this part of the message.
Yeah, well.
But I'm going to be sending my email.
The crazy thing, Jeff, I've been doing this, and people will go online to do a little survey for nothing, right? Or they'll go online and they'll do like, oh, I can go get this like 2-page report, and it's free. But if I offer a free book, people think there's something behind it. Like, what's she going to do? What is this about? Like, there's a hidden fee. And I've offered this several times on podcasts and different places. And I've only had one person ever take me up on it. So there you go. That's a challenge for people who are listening. I've only had one person ever. You could be my second or third.
Well, it's
a good book. Like, it's a good book.
That would be an honor.
Absolutely. And I'll make sure all your links are in the show notes so people can find you there. But thank you so much for being with us today. It's been fun. It's been informative, and just love talking with you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. It's so much fun. Ask me back. I'm always available. Ask me back.
Okay.
I'm looking for entrepreneurs, athletes, coaches, and other high achievers who want to discover their full potential. Those that have dreams and desires of getting to the next level and just need to figure out how to get there. Hi, my name is Jeff Heggie. I'm a success coach, and I want to show you the truth about developing a powerful mindset. One of the biggest things holding people back from achieving their dreams is their own limiting beliefs. And the bad thing about limiting beliefs is they prevent you from discovering your true potential and cause you to settle for way less than you really deserve. I've seen this time and again in business, athletics, all areas of life. And worst of all, many people never get past the idea that achieving their biggest dreams in life is just that, a dream. But luckily, now there's a solution for this problem. So if you're an entrepreneur, athlete, coach, or other high achiever that really wants to get to the next level, but it just hasn't happened yet, here's the solution you've been looking for. I want to introduce you to High Achievers Mindset Secrets. High Achievers Mindset Secrets is designed to help you gain control of your future, become absolutely clear on your goals and how you're going to achieve them, discover the true potential of what you have within yourself, and live every day with confidence. Intentionally live the life you desire, and much, much more. From day one, you'll be able to start implementing the strategies that will bring results into your life. High Achievers Mindset Secrets is designed specifically to meet your needs, and there's 3 options for you to choose from. First of all, there's the 6-module course. Over the course of these 6 modules, you'll learn the momentum cycle, the success cycle, and how to make them work in your favor. How to build confidence and self-belief. You'll learn to create clear goals, understand what you need to do to achieve them, and most importantly, you'll discover your why for each one. And I'll tell you now, it's not what you think. You'll learn the power of mindset questions, visualization, and having a vivid vision. You'll learn the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset and how you can change it. You'll understand the importance of proximity as power. You'll create personal development habits that lead to success. You'll create your own personal success formula. You'll also learn the connection of mindset and mental health, the importance of state modeling and mindfulness, and so much more. The second option is the Academy. In the Academy, you get the full 6-module course, plus some specific, specialized one-on-one coaching. In the team program, it's designed for athletic teams, sales teams, executive teams, any team that wants to maximize its potential. Each person on the team will go through the 6-module course, and then there will be some group coaching specifically with me. So again, if you're an entrepreneur, athlete, coach, or any other high achiever that really wants to get to the next level and you're committed to making it happen, you know every day counts. You deserve to be living the life that you want on your rules. You deserve to achieve those dreams, start that business, win that championship, get recruited, whatever that is that you desire. There's never been a better time in history to make a change and take charge of your future. You work hard, you want it bad, you're committed to making it happen. Let's do it now. So get on board with the High Achievers Mindset Secrets, because I look forward to working with you.
Get more details at mindset.jeffhaggie.com.